Okay, guys. So this video is going to be very hard for me to do. It's a very difficult topic once again. And I'm a little bit amazed that it's been 2 weeks since this incident has occurred with Stephon Clark being wrongly killed by the police in Sacramento, California. And I just found out about it. I just found out about it within the past few days, and it's kind of alarming to see that yet another one has fell victim, to police brutality and racism. It's like I said, it's a very difficult topic for me to address, for me to talk about, but I'm going to talk to you guys about this the best way I know how. And I think what really brought my attention to this topic was response videos that I've been seeing on social media about the police shooting. The response videos are coming from people mostly within the African American community. Like I said, it's hard, you guys, it's hard. But the responses are coming mainly from people within the African American community. And it's really sad and unfortunate that these responses are so divided. It's like we cannot come to terms. We cannot at least agree on the fact that killing innocent Black people is wrong. So before I get into this video, I'm going to read you guys a list of Black people who were innocently killed by the police, starting with Terrence Crutcher, Philando Castile, Samuel DuBose, Sandra Bland, Freddie Gray, Walter Scott, Hakai Gurley, Laquan McDonald. The list goes on. Can't forget about Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Christian Taylor, Alton B. Sterling, Paul O'Neill, Keith Lamont, Trayvon Martin. I mean, the list goes on of Black people who have been killed by the police. For you guys who are unaware of this story, it's hard, you guys. It's hard. Stephon Clark, he's an African American male who was shot. He was shot by police in Sacramento, California, in his grandmother's yard. The police, according to the police, they said that he posed a threat, a danger to the neighborhood because they got reports saying that he was breaking windows. So they responded to it, and when they got there and trying to apprehend him, they shot him because they perceived that he was a threat. How did they perceive that he was a threat? He had a cell phone in his hand that he was trying to show police. It was a cell phone. It was not a gun. It was not a weapon. The police jumped the gun and pulled, as they always do, pulled the trigger and shot him multiple times. And he died. He is dead. He did not survive. And I did watch the video. And in the video, you hear the police officers basically, they follow the procedure backwards. They did the procedure so backwards, about what they said to him. Some things they said to him, they were supposed to give him warning in advance. They did not give him that warning until after he was dead. It's like, how can you ask the man to show his hands when he's already dead? They're asking him, put up your hands. He's like, how can he put up his hands if he's dead? And he was trying to show the police that he didn't have any weapon. But they jumped the gun. And this is my thought, this is my thinking on this issue, because if you're a police officer, yes, your job is to serve and to protect the community. And the main person you got to protect is yourself, you know? Police have to go home. They have to go home after their job, after their shift, and that's what they plan to do. So I think their biggest commitment is to themselves, to the force, first and foremost, you know, and then to the community. But I'm thinking, before a police officer is able to go out there and to serve and protect, like, they should at least, I think that there should be a lot more checks that the police have to go through. I mean, we know that they have to go through criminal background check, they have to pass a credit check, they have to, you know, pass certain checks in order to become a police officer and go through the training and everything. But what about psychologically? It's like they're not really being checked psychologically. You know, no one is really screening these men to see if they even hold a bias or racial bias, and to what extent against African American people. To see if they are impulsive, you know, because I think a lot of times, and yes, impulsivity can work towards one's favor, right? And in this line of work, when you're working with, you know, the community, and you're in stressful situations and potentially dangerous and violent situations, you have to a certain degree be impulsive, you know, in order to respond in a timely manner so that you can save your life and then other people's lives who are at risk. But it seems like there isn't much judgment. There isn't much discretion. There isn't much critical thinking when it comes to their line of work, apparently, because a lot of times, I mean, this is what we see. Now, yes, we know that the media exaggerates a situation. The media will oftentimes, when you see cases that happen in the media, you know, I think we oftentimes think this is how a lot of police officers are across the board. So we see, you know, these incidents. I wouldn't say they're isolated incidents, but we do see these incidents that are happening across the country, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they're happening, and I think it can give the illusion that this happens all the time in police departments, when I think the majority of police officers actually are doing their job as they are supposed to be doing their job, you know? Just like the whole situation with plane crashes, right? People are terrified of plane crashes because anytime there is a plane crash, it makes headline news, you know, it makes the media. And it's just very tragic, you know, when we have one. It's so tragic to the point where it's like people think that plane crashes happen every other day when that's not necessarily happening. So I wanted to put that out there. But I was motivated to do this video because of some of the reactions that I've seen in response to this story with Stephon Clark. And the responses are coming from Black women. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I know that everyone is entitled to their opinion, right? Everyone has a right to express how they feel about this. And I think that it's beautiful. I think it's very beautiful to see different perspectives, to see that people are being honest about how they feel about this issue. People are not holding back. We want people to be honest, whether we agree with their opinion or not. It's important that people show their true colors, that we are able to see how people feel about certain things, and we get to see people's true colors. And I saw this video, I shared it on my page on Facebook, but I saw this video of this woman who a lot of people are saying is very bitter because of her delivery and what she's saying. A lot of people are saying that, you know, they support her, they agree with her because they can identify with what she's saying. And some people are saying, this woman, what is wrong with her? You know, she's crazy for what she's saying. And I'm going to tell you guys what she's essentially saying. She, among other women, Black African American women, are saying they do not support Stephon Clark. They're not going to defend Stephon Clark. Now, Stephon Clark is dead. He's been dead for over 2 weeks now. He is dead. And they're saying they're not going to support or defend his wrongful death by the police because of some things that have been uncovered about him. And I'm sure the media had a role in it, right? We know the media, they're notorious for going about and digging up information on a person, especially if it means to save face for the police departments. Anything to save face, to make the police department seem less guilty, to make them appear more innocent, I think. So they went and dug up some information on Stephon Clark, this African American victim, African American man who was shot and killed, who pleaded for his life, who banged on his grandmother's window and was trying to, save his life and hope that he didn't get killed, hope that he didn't become another Black man fallen victim, at the hands of the white man. I'm sure before he took his last breath, which I heard that he made it to the hospital and then he died, that he probably was so frightened, He probably saw that he was going to die. And he probably wondered, not me. I know that every Black man, when they encounter, white police officer, and it looks like the situation isn't going to go well, and the white man puts his hand on his gun, I'm pretty sure every African American man faces that fear. The fear of, oh shit, maybe it's my turn to go. So I can only imagine that Stephon Clark had that fear within him. That thought probably crossed his mind when he was running for his life. He was afraid of his safety. He was trying to show the police that he's another innocent Black man by holding up his cell phone and saying, hey, look, I don't have a gun. This is what I have. I'm innocent. Come talk to me and figure out if I'm innocent. But yet and still the police decided to go a different route. And they decided that he was guilty. They just knew he was guilty. I mean, he's a Black man. It's dark. When I saw the video, it looks like it happened at night. So it's late at night, it's dark. You have a Black man, looks suspicious, right? As they call it. That's a stereotype, unfortunately. Looks suspicious. And the white man feared for their life. Perhaps. On a subconscious level. I don't think they felt immediate danger. But I do think that there's a subconscious fear within a lot of white people when they encounter African Americans. They fear for their life. We know this. Black people can sense this fear when we encounter white people. That they feel afraid. They're terrified. And I can only imagine in his mind and Stephon Clark's mind the amount of fear and the terror that he was struck with and encountering these police and having these guns pointed at him when he didn't do anything. He was an innocent man. So to save face, the media's role is to make the police appear to be less guilty and the victim that they killed to appear to be more guilty. And I think they are succeeding at that. I mean, just looking at the videos that I've seen, these response videos, because we live in a social media digital age. People have these devices and they take to social media to share their opinions. Everybody, we live in a free country where we at least can do that. We at least have the freedom to express our perspectives and opinions on a different topic. And like I said, it's beautiful to hear Black women stating how they feel about this issue. They're speaking the truth. They're saying, you know what? I'm not going to support Black men. I don't care about Black men. White men, white police officers, take our men. They're not doing us any good anyway. I mean, in the video that I'm referring to, this Black woman, she appears to be mixed, but she's still Black. She identifies herself as Black. And she is going and she says, I am not going to protect Stephon Clark. That's what she says. And the reason being is because what the media has uncovered about him and put out there for the masses to see. So the media went to his Twitter page, to Stephon Clark's Twitter page, and found that Stephon Clark has a little bit of identity issues. He has a little bit of self-hatred towards Black people, specifically towards Black women. He expressed on his Twitter page, according to the media, he expressed that he prefers exotic women. The term exotic, he is referring to as women who are not African American women or Black women, but women who are Asian, women of other different cultures, not Black. He made it clear that he doesn't like Black women, that in fact, he will never date a Black woman. And his partner, he bragged about, was Asian, is not Black. Now, you guys know my perspective on interracial dating. I came on here and I've talked about it several times, and I pretty much said that I'm pretty much open to interracial dating. I don't judge people for stepping outside of their race because I understand that people do it for different reasons. One can say, okay, it's self-hate. One can say they're just experimenting, trying to see what's out there, testing the waters. They've dated Black people, or, let's say a Black woman decides to step out her race and date a white man. Maybe she's dated Black men all her life, or vice versa. The Black man say he wants to try something different. He's dated Black women all his life. So he's like, okay, let me try something different. Let me step outside of my comfort zone and just explore women from different cultures. So I can see it from different sides, and I'm pretty much saying that I don't necessarily see anything wrong with stepping out one's race. It just depends on why you do it. But what they uncovered about him was that he wasn't necessarily stepping outside of his race just to test the waters or see what's out there. He really felt a disdain towards Black women. A lot of men do. A lot of Black men don't like Black women. So understand there is a difference. People date interracially for different reasons, and one cannot jump to the conclusion to assume that that person has hatred towards their own race. But I think what they've done, they found enough evidence to point to the fact that Stephon Clark, he's just like a lot of Black men, who have fallen victim to this syndrome, this post-traumatic slavery disorder syndrome. Because we've been through a lot as African Americans. A lot of times it boils down to an adaptive ability to survive. One is just trying to survive in America, and for some Black men, dating a white woman or a woman outside of their race is their ticket, is their protection to survive in this racist society, this racist country we call America. That's subconsciously, their choice to date outside of their race is their protection. Perhaps if you are walking down the street and people know that you have an Asian woman or a white woman on your shoulder and you're an African American man, then you might be perceived as less of a threat. Some black men think that. And based on Stephon Clark's Twitter post, it sounds like that was the reason why he turned outside of his race. He wanted to do something different, and he felt that it was better. I mean, you can't attack a person if that's just how they feel. If that's how he feels, that's how he feels, right? And I'm sure it stems from a number of different factors. Racism being one of them. The fact that African American men are considered to be an endangered species. A lot of African American men are in prison, dead, in jail. So let's not overlook the fact that black men are a threat to our society, are perceived as a threat to American society. And for a lot of them, that's how they feel like they can feel safe and comfortable. They feel that they can let their guard down a little bit and be able to enjoy a piece of the American dream and the American pie by dating outside of their race, by getting an Asian woman, getting a Latina woman, getting a woman, anything but black. But apparently it didn't work for him. That couldn't save him. Dating a white woman couldn't save him, or dating an Asian woman couldn't save him. Because like Jay-Z's songs say, at the end of the day, still a nigga in their eyes. So she couldn't save him. His Asian girlfriend or wife couldn't save him. He is dead. You have black women responding to his posts. To the fact that he presented himself as this man, this African-American man that hates black women. And if there's anything that a black man should avoid doing, is putting himself out there as if he hates black women, like making it known publicly. You get what I'm saying? If you can have your own perceptions of black women. And yes, I made, at the beginning of this video, right, I made a statement to say that we are all entitled to our own opinions. We have the right and freedom to articulate and express ourselves how we see fit, right? But it doesn't mean that you ain't going to get backlash. And so the fact that he and a lot of black men openly express their disdain and their hatred towards African-American women, they make it known publicly. Better believe you better be waiting for some attack. What is that guy's name that always bashes black women? Y'all know who I'm talking about. That he was beefing with Dr. Umar Johnson at one point. I forget his name. But he's another one. He's a YouTube vlogger. Black guy that bashes black women. That's like his whole narrative. He just tears down black women. I cannot think of his name. So someone said Stephon actually degraded black women every chance he got. From what I'm reading, I'm just outdone. I'm done. Just tuning in. Yeah, so he was one of the ones, that pretty much degraded black women, and like I said, I'm sure it stemmed from racism. Black people been through a lot in this country. So when you see expressions of self-hatred, you see black people hating themselves, and trying to fit in and integrate, it's a reason for that. That stems from something. It's not just intrinsic to the individual. It stems from something. A lot of times it's just them trying to adapt and survive in this very difficult structure that we live in within the dominant white supremacist structure. And like I said, he thought that dating outside of his race was going to save him. But it didn't even save him. And in fact, not only did it not save him, but he's dead now, and nobody's coming to his rescue. Nobody's coming to his defense. Black women are not feeling sympathetic for him. Sorry, you guys. It's saying that I have bad reception, so hopefully I can finish this video. But black women are saying they don't feel sorry for him. They don't feel sorry for Stephon Clark, because he was just, quote unquote, another no good nigga that don't give a damn about black women, that degrade black women, that treat them like shit. And not only that, he's also a prototype. He's a symbol of black women that for a lot of black women, I'm sure, is a trigger that reminds them of other black men who have also degraded them. You get what I'm saying? So we're talking about something that is very systemic and multi-layered here. This thing is deep. Wow, then his brother out here running amok. Yeah, it's like his brother, I saw his brother respond, and his brother seems to be that he's breaking down, right? When you're under pressure, what do? You break. You break down. When you have too much pressure applied to something, it breaks. So his brother, unfortunately, is breaking down. He's under a lot of pressure. He doesn't know what to do. You get what I'm saying? And we already know what's coming. A settlement is coming from this. The list of names that I read you guys earlier of black people who have lost their lives, a lot of them came with settlements. They all came with settlements, which means the department paid out a certain amount of money to the family. Freddie Gray got $6.4 million. Walter Scott, $6.5 million. Laquan McDonald, $5 million. Christian Taylor, $850,000. Tamir Rice, $6 million settlement. Eric Garner, $5.9 million settlement. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's money, but money cannot replace a life. You know? It's really unfortunate. But back to the response video of the black women. One black woman, because her video went viral, you know, but a lot of black women are supporting her video. They're saying, I agree with her. I stand with her perspective, because they're saying she's right. Why should we stand and support a black man who don't give two shits about us anyway? Now, this is one incident, and it's interesting to see this response, right? I pay attention to everything. I try to analyze and look at everything from many different perspectives. So this is just one incident. Now, we have many, of course, incidents where black people have been wrongly killed, but this is the first time. This is a very special incident, you guys. This is a very unusual incident where you look at the response of the black community, and it's not like it used to be before. Before, black people we were like, we ride or die. It don't matter what a person did. We gonna stand behind this black victim who was wrongly killed by the police. That's how it used to be. And then now, this is the very first time I noticed the response is different. It's divided. How is it divided? It's divided along gender lines. The response within the black community in response to the wrongful death, the wrongful killing of Stephon Clark is divided amongst gender lines. So black men feel a certain kind of way about this issue. Black women feel a certain kind of way about this issue. Not to say all. We're not saying all, but we're talking about general consensus, looking at the majority of numbers of people and how they respond. Her video was just really abrasive. I don't agree, but there is some truth in it. That's what I want to address. Rochelle says, right, giving these settlements not the best way to create wealth for black families. It's unfortunate. The black man is dead, and black women are mad at him for something that shouldn't be a concern anymore. The man is dead because of white cops. And black women are upset more so because he bashed black women. Yes, Genevia, black, that's what I'm saying. This particular shooting, the response is different than any other shooting, any other killing of a black person in America by white police. The response is different. which motivated me to do this video. I'm like, I gotta do the video on this because I'm kind of surprised, but I find it interesting. You know, it's not that I'm attacking women for expressing their opinion and how they feel, because I feel like there's a place for it. And the fact that it's coming up now, the fact that women are vocalizing their feelings, they're vocalizing their pain, making it known, putting it out there on social media, on public platform, and saying, Black men, this is how we feel. This is one incident. But for them to respond in that way, and for her to be the fourth, she's a leader, the lady, I don't remember her name, but she's a Black woman, she's light skinned. She created a video and it has quite a bit of hits on it. And I shared it on my page where she's saying, I am not going to protect Stephon Clark. Essentially saying she's not defending that. Because what is a typical response when we have these killings by the police, you know, against Black people? The typical response is, no, Black lives matter. Don't kill us. We're going to fight for justice. But to see a Black woman stand up and say, wait a minute. Yes, he was killed, wrongly killed by the police, you know, but I don't feel sorry for him. That's a different kind of response. Because like I said before, Black women and men would swallow. They will swallow maybe that truth, that part of the story, you know, which you can say there's some truth in it, right? And they say, we're going to just put that to the side and stand for Blackness. It's about Black power. But I think it's amazing. I think it's really amazing to see that Black women are, I mean, in a way, what I see is two different movements intersecting. So you have the Black Lives Matter movement, which we know is for Black people. Then we have the feminist movement, women's rights, which is for women. Intersecting at this crossroad of an innocent Black man being killed. That to me is pretty dangerous, I think. You know, it's tricky, it's dangerous because the movements have nothing to do with each other. What Black people are fighting for have nothing to do with what women are fighting for. Because we talk about women, that's not just Black women, that's all women. You see what I'm saying? Which I think is a much more powerful movement. When you talk about the women's rights movement and you try to put that aside next to Black Lives Matter movement, it don't even compare. Black Lives Matter movement ain't got nothing on women's rights movement. It doesn't even compare. You can't even compare the two. When I'm talking about, what I mean by compare, I mean in terms of strength and numbers. The number of people who support women's rights, we're talking about women. So just take into account the number of women, not only in America, because the women's rights movement is an international movement. It's international. It goes beyond our country's borders. You get what I'm saying? Much bigger than Black Lives Matter. Because look at it this way. When you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, yes, we know Black people are pretty strong in numbers internationally. There's a lot more Black people outside of the U.S. than there is in the U.S. So don't get it mistaken by looking at the percentage of African Americans in the U.S. and you're like, oh, it's only 12% of African Americans in the U.S. So can't be that many Black people. It's a lot of Black people worldwide, a lot. We actually outnumber white people worldwide. However, when you're talking about the number of people who are actually standing and fighting for Black Lives Matter, look what's happening. Those numbers are dwindling, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And there's, like I said, there's more people fighting for women's rights. She's mad because of the kind of women he was involved with. So not only that, she's just mad because of the women, his choice of women. I think the media put a spin on that too, which is so unfortunate. We're talking about an innocent life here. is killed and the media want to focus on this man's dating preference as if it should be used as evidence against him. He's dead. He can't fight for his case. He's dead. Who's going to fight for his case? Who's going to fight for Stephon Clark's case? Because he can't do it. He's dead. He can't even go in front of the judge and testify and prove that he was innocent. He's dead. But they're using it against him. They couldn't, the information that the media is putting out there, they couldn't use that in a court of law to protect him to protect the police department, to protect the police department's interests. The media, they can't use that piece of information, the fact that he is attracted to women outside of his race. That is so irrelevant, but it's relevant to the conversation of public opinion. That's what the media's job is to influence public opinion and perspectives. So they're doing a great job at it, because I'm looking at people's reactions on social media and I'm seeing a shift. I have to just be honest. There is a shift that is happening within the Black community, and the Black Lives Matter movement is getting weaker and weaker. And I think that this particular incident is an attack on the Black Lives Matter movement. There's an attack on it was already an attack on it initially by the FBI, labeling Black people who really identify strongly with the African American race or their African identity and the Black identity. The FBI had begun labeling these people as terrorists, Black identity extremists. So unfortunate. So that's one form of an attack, because you got people out here that are fighting for Black lives, and then you got the FBI saying, wait a minute, we think some of y'all might be Black extremists. We think that some of y'all might be taking this whole Black Lives Matter thing a little bit too far. So let's put a label on it to say that anybody who takes it a little bit too far, what is too far? You get what I'm saying? What is the definition of too far? But anybody who takes it too far, you can be perceived as a terrorist by the FBI. And they can be watching you. Your every move, every plan, every step that you take to make better the African American community, because you have this passion that has been birthed out of a need to defend and protect your own race and your own self. That's what it's about. That's what these protests are about. It's about survival. It's about people. Nobody's going to be out there marching for hours and days just for their own good. People do this for their survival, for their right to live, and that's how the FBI sees it. So perhaps that is not strong enough. They can't dismantle the movement in that respect. So what do? They come at it from a different angle. I think it's pretty genius, because I think some of these shootings are staged. It makes no sense how these Black men are just popping up, disappearing, and getting killed, taken out by the police. So I think it's a pretty clever move, if you think of terms of military science. And if there is an agenda to get rid of Black people, and especially targeting Black men, because Black men are the head of the household, they are the head of our communities, targeting them as opposed to targeting Black women. Not to say they don't kill us, but we know who's the main target in the Black community. And look at what happens. Look what they have strategized. Look what they have set up. They actually have organized these police shootings such in a way that when a Black man who has a preference for dating outside of his race, it don't even matter. It's just he has a certain dating preference. It could be same sex, because he expressed that and they done dug it up. They are sending the message to women in the Black community saying, basically, the media is telling black women, don't support this man's life because he's black. Look at him. Look at him. He don't even like you anyway. What is that? That to me, that sounds like Willie Lynch, where they have this plan to break up the black community, got black people fighting against each other, all this infighting. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is pretty dangerous what we're looking at, you guys. I don't think y'all realize the gravity of it and how serious and how dangerous of a crossroad that we've come to. We're talking about two very important movements. Don't get me wrong. Women's rights is just as important as Black Lives Matter. But two very important movements intersecting. And what wins? Not black life. So race, they're saying race is not as important as women's rights. It's a woman's right to be respected. So what we're seeing is that black women are saying, wait, yes, this black man was wrongly killed, but for me, what's more important is that I'm respected by a black man. I'm respected by men. And because this black man who was wrongly killed by the police did not respect black women, I'm not going to fight for him. Black men, if that ain't a wake-up call, tell me what is. Because if I'm a black man and I'm sitting up here looking at this video of this woman say she's not going to fight, she's not supporting. It's not that she's just making a video expressing her opinion, but this video has gone viral, which means that it's influencing a lot of other people. She done got some shit started. She's leading the bandwagon and got a lot of black women on that bandwagon saying, you know what, I join her in what she's saying. I agree with what she's saying. I support her because you're right. I'm not gonna let no black man disrespect me. So why do I look stupid standing up fighting for a black man? I'm like, wow. So when did the decision to support Black Lives Matter and what's right for the black community, when did it become predicated on a person's dating preferences? Wow. That's a totally different perspective. You're talking about a spin. They didn't put a spin on this shit, y'all. I already see what's happening. See the direction. When you got a video in response like that to a killing like that, not to say it's just going to turn all black people, against each other. And then when you have black men getting shot and killed, nobody ain't going to give a damn. I'm not going to go to that extreme to say that. But I do think that kind of response is going to influence how black women respond when a black man is wrongly killed. Because it's like now a black woman got an excuse not to even fight. Like, okay, I'm not fighting. I don't feel any sympathy. Because the media comes in and reminds black women, look, don't you fight for black men. Because they don't care about you anyway. And for black women to publicly declare they're not going to fight for the black man, that's dangerous. Y'all don't know what y'all doing, y'all. That's dangerous. Yeah, I'll get some shit started. Y'all think that, I don't know where her intention was to say that. What does she expect the outcome going to be for her to say that she's not going to support black men? What does she think she's going to get out of that? Because what's going to happen, like they say, people do tit for tat. That's just human nature. You're starting something. You're starting a war. Not as if a war isn't already happening between black men and black women, but come on. You adding fuel to the fire. Because a black man look at that, and you look at the responses of black women, and they're saying, well, damn, these black women ain't going to fight for us. Do you think saying that to a black man is going to make him say, all right, you know what? I'm just going to stop hating myself, and I'm just going to start loving black women? No. No, absolutely not. That's not what's going to happen. That's not going to be their reaction. They're going to retaliate. They're going to say, all right, they don't support us. We don't support them. So when this, just wait. It's just a matter of time before something happens and the tables turn and it happens to a black woman. And then she got a history that they can dig up and pull up. Whatever it is. She can be a lesbian. And she's wrongly shot and killed by the police. Now, guess what? Black women have given black men permission to say, child, please, we ain't supporting you. We ain't about to be out here marching and fighting for you. The white man killed you. Oh, well, you ain't sit out there and support us. I mean, do we really want to go to that point? Do we really want to go to that extreme, you guys? I think a lot of times we get so caught up in getting likes on social media and creating these videos just for attention or for a reaction, or we get so caught up in our own emotions that we forget what the hell we fighting for. I mean, what really is most important? Should there be a hierarchy, you guys? For you guys who are watching, because I know you guys are just kind of listening and tuning in to what I'm saying. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear your perspective. Like, what do you guys think? Should there be a hierarchy to these movements? We got a lot of movements, a lot of shit to fight for. I heard what today is Autism Day, right? National World Autism Day, you know, to commemorate the people, millions of people who have been diagnosed with autism. That's a movement. So it's a lot of movements going on. Should there be hierarchy when it comes to fighting? What happens when you got two movements intersecting with each other, as they do now? That's the media, I think, created that shit. For the media to go up and dig up this man's Twitter post. Who, like, y'all, I'm gonna have to give it to y'all raw. So I'm like, who the fuck does that? I mean, that's their job, right? That's their job. I get it, you know, anything for views, because that's how they get paid. But I'm like, that is some gross, sick, demonic shit to do that. This man, now come on, we talking about right and wrong. This man was wrongly killed by the police. And for the media to sit up here and dig up that piece of information from his Twitter account and juxtapose that shit against this wrongful death that he experienced? Are you serious? So all it is doing, essentially, is diverting the focus away from where it needs to be. The focus initially is on the wrongful death, right? This man was wrongfully killed by the police. That's the focus, right? You guys are aware of what distractions are. You know, it's anything that comes in to divert your attention away from where it needs to be focused on. The focus is on the police killing this man, taking this man's life wrongfully. Wrongfully. He was not a threat. He didn't have a gun, no weapons, none of that. He followed instructions, you know, got down to they shot him in his back. So he wasn't approaching them as a threat. Wrongful death, that is their primary focus. And then you have the slick media come in with their little spin on it. Because they storytellers, you know. They know how to take a story and add their own little spin to it, add their own little details to it. And they can essentially make the public focus on whatever they want the public to focus on. So, yes, the story that they actually have, the meat and bones of the story, is supposed to be how this man was shot and killed wrongfully by the police. That is supposed to be the main focus. But you see how they didn't change the narrative? They changed the focus. And now got black women across America focusing on this man's dating preference. You know, which is basically a byproduct of self-hate, you know, and the post-traumatic slavery disorder. that we all are affected by. So no black person is completely, oh, I'm just 100% African. You know, we can walk around with our dashikis and our dreads and black power fists all dang on day. But there's no way you can say you're not affected by white supremacy. All black people are whitewashed to a certain extent. Some of us a little bit more whitewashed than others, but all of us are whitewashed. You have to be able to survive in this goddamn country. Point to me one black person who is immune to being whitewashed. So what we have is a black man who probably was, I don't know, I would say maybe, I don't know, I didn't see the Twitter post. I'm just going based on the record. You know, he might be 90% whitewashed. You know, 90%, let's say. And y'all want to go attacking him. Y'all want to go and highlight that part. So now that's the focus. That is the story. You know, you have one news story. This is supposed to be the focus. This is supposed to be the headline. They done took this man's death, this man's killing, and reconfigured it so that now the headline ain't even about police and killed him, wrongfully killed him. The headline is what his dating preference was. And that's the story. And black women are sticking to it. Black women like, forget about it. You know, he hated black women. And I think a lot of black women only understood where that hate comes from. You know, it's like, who taught black people to hate themselves, right? We're not putting all the blame on white people, but we're just trying to put this thing into a certain context so you guys can understand. I think to a certain extent, all black people have self-hate and are whitewashed. I might develop a measure. You guys know I'm in my second year of a PhD program in clinical psychology. And my focus in my research is on black identity. And I think I want to develop a measure, a tool to assess hatred, self-hate, to see how much hate do we all have within ourselves, including myself. I mean, I think black people, we like to point fingers and try to make it seem like we just 100% black. We all got hate. So we're talking about this man who basically, we can look at it as like a psychological condition, right? You know, as a byproduct of him just being a black man trying to struggle to survive in this society. A lot of black women, instead of y'all looking at black men, right, who date outside their race, instead of y'all looking at it like, oh, it's like y'all, your self-esteem, your ego is so freaking damaged that you looking at it as if it's a personal attack against you when you see a black man holding hands with a white woman. And it's like, a lot of times, it ain't got nothing to do with you. You get what I'm saying? It's within him. Something that he has to deal with. That's a struggle for him. And now you feel offended when you see a black man with a white woman. You know, come on. If anything, this man needs support, encouragement, not retaliation, not judgment. But black women are retaliating, saying he deserved it. And not only are they saying Stephon Clark deserved it, but they're saying every black man in America who dates outside their race, who degrades black women, who treat black women like they ain't shit, including the ones that's on child support and ain't taking care of their kids, they deserve it too. That is some pretty dangerous shit. That's some pretty dangerous waters right there. Y'all don't understand. You go out and put out public statements like that. And yes, it's your opinion. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. But we have to understand the consequences of those opinions that we put out and how that is going to impact. Because think about it. We live in a different day and age. Social media, you don't understand. We control the media. You get what people's perspectives, how we are socialized to think and to behave. That is influenced by everybody. It's not just so we can't just blame Fox anymore. We can't blame CNN. It's in our hands now. The narrative, the public narrative that we create on any topic is within our hands now, people. The device that you are holding right now in your hands. You have so much power within your hands right now to go out there and to shape public opinion. Even when you just comment on someone's post, understand your comment is helping to shape public opinion. When you go out there and you create videos, and yes, you're stating your opinion, but guess what? You're helping to shape public opinion. Social media is very strong, almost stronger than these networks. These TV networks nowadays ain't got nothing on social media. Because a lot of these videos that's coming from independent people who are just creating a video on their own get way more hits than you see. You go to some of these news stations fan pages, they don't have nowhere near as many hits. So the power is in our hands to create and direct the narrative. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. If that's how you feel, women, that's how you feel. But understand, be ready to take what you dish out. So if you dish out hatred towards a black man, you dish out unforgiveness and bitterness towards a black man, because that's how you feel on the inside. Whatever the black man has done to you or in front of you towards black women, you have internalized that and you feel some kind of way. But understand, whatever you dish out to the black man, be prepared to get back in return. I think the position where a lot of black women are at now, they're like, shit, we don't expect shit from black men anyway. What have they done? We had talking about black women who have kids from black men who not even committed to taking care of the kids, taking care of them. They made all these false promises. Oh, baby, you mine. I'm going to be with you forever. You're my queen. Black men love to say that. But then when the baby comes, who's left to take care of the baby by themselves? It's the mother is. And black men will say, oh, well, that's a woman's job. It's a woman's job to take care of the baby. True enough. But is it fair that you leave that responsibility to the woman alone when it takes two to make a baby? That's very unfair. And then not only that, when black women are left with this burden, because the baby does become a burden when a person has to do it by themselves, and especially when they don't expect to, when they're left with this burden and they see these black men elevating Latino women, elevating Asian women, elevating Caribbean women. They're not black, I'm talking about these light-skinned women with long, straight hair. They're elevating them, putting them on pedestals, saying, this is my ideal woman. What do you think is going to happen? Yes, you're going to have women who are bitter, because these women are like, they expect this man to be there. Black women have a certain expectation of men to be committed to them. They're like, no, you don't have a choice to date who you want to date. You better date us, because what is the black woman left with? We're talking about a numbers game here. One can say, oh, it's about freedom of choice. Everybody got the right to choose who they want to date and who they want to be with. But sometimes it just boils down to a numbers game. And we're talking about a good proportion of black men who are already wards of the state where they live, are already owned by the state because they are prisoners. 3 strikes and you're out. They gone. They don't even have a life anymore. You get what I'm saying? A lot of black men are already dead. What does that leave black women? With a handful of black men, and you take those handful of black men and look at them, and then a lot of them turning gay. And then another portion of them are dating outside their race. Then what does that leave black women? Not to say it's not black women who are happily married and have, black husbands. Not to say that, of course, we know that exists. It's always somebody that get on here and say, oh, well, it's not all black men, all black. Of course. We know, of course. Do you guys want us to make a video, complimenting you guys for doing, a great job at staying true to yourself and to your race? But that's not what this video is about, and that's not what people's concern is. So we're looking at a very unfortunate situation for the media to sow that seed into black women's minds to say, hey, have you guys considered it? Like, hey, knock, 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 knock. Have you considered that these black men don't care about your ass anyway? All they doing is just using you as a dumping ground for the dump their seeds in. All they using you as far as to carry their seed, and that's it. They don't care about you. They're not taking care of you. I made a video, and I can tell you, this is the state we're at. A lot of black men feel this way. Not to say all, but black men. Because I have evidence. Go to my YouTube channel and look at the way black men comment. And it's not necessarily towards me. This is just how they feel towards black women. They're saying, this is how we feel. A black woman is not worth taking care of. A black woman should not be worshipped. They like, black women want black men to worship them and to treat them like they queens when they're not even queens themselves. But they expect this of the black man. I'm just like, damn, that's fucked up. That's the reason why I don't have kids right now, you guys. I'm 34, I don't have kids. And I'm like, you know what? I'm happy. Because the last thing I would want to do is sit up here and give my womb to a man that turns around and tells me I'm not worth committing his lifeblood to, as one man puts it. I'm like, wow. So a woman is worth risk losing her life. You know, women risk their lives in childbirth. Not just in childbirth, but in the pregnancy of 9 months. Carrying a baby 40 weeks, that is a huge risk to her life. Her life is not even the same after she had that baby. And you have men have the nerve to say, oh, that's it. I don't owe her nothing. Like, men will literally try to fight against having to pay child support. I'm like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe because my dad, my mom are married, you know, my dad took care of me. I don't have to worry about that. But I don't see how a man could develop such negative, hateful feelings towards a black woman and then want to defend against having to take care of a child. Like, to me, that is so, like, that, just think about that made me want to cry, you know what I'm saying, for all the women out there who have to go through this process. To me, that's very shameful. And then I made a video on why black men hate their mothers. And I gave an example of a black man that I know in my line of work who actually hated his mother because she didn't put his dad on child support. And I'm like, wow, that's a different situation. You hate your mother because she did not go down to the white man and make him pay child support, even though he wasn't taking care of you guys. He wasn't helping, giving her no money, no support, no financial support, no nothing. And they struggled and they moved from house to house to house to house, really struggling to survive. And he remembers that. And he's like, I hate my mom because had she been strong enough and put her foot down and went down there to the courts and put my dad on child support, I wouldn't have had to work so hard when I was a child just to take care of the family. You get what I'm saying? Like, this thing here is deep, you guys. Women, and you got men that'll look back and judge black women and say, oh, she's just bitter. Why she's so bitter? And I'm just like, come on. You know why a black woman is bitter. Just like a black woman may look at a black man and say, oh, he's so angry, or he don't know himself, or he want to date white women. It's like, come on. Don't look at it like, you know, you want to attack the black man for that. If anything, do feel sympathy for him. You get what I'm saying? Yes, it's unfortunate. You know, if anybody hates when black men degrade and mistreat black women, is me. I have absolutely zero tolerance, very little tolerance for when a black man disrespects black women. I stand against it. I have zero. I don't even like when black women call each other bitches. So let alone a black man calling a woman a bitch. I can't stand it. I have zero tolerance for it. I'm not going to tolerate it in front of my face. And if I'm around a woman and she's being disrespected, I can't tolerate it. I hate that. But one thing I say I'm always mindful of is the bigger picture. We have to keep in mind the bigger picture of what's happening in our society. You get what I'm saying? And I always dial it back. You know, because sometimes we so zoomed in on what's happening. We see black men dating us out there racing. We just like, boom, let's go attack black men. But let's zoom out a little bit. Zoom out the picture and see the bigger picture of things. You get what I'm saying? I see why. You know, you see why all of this stuff is happening. You know? And I know it stems from something much deeper than that. Why? Because black men in Africa ain't sleeping with white women. Why do you think there's so many black people in Africa? Because black men in Africa appreciate black women. They sleeping with black women. So what's the difference between black people in Africa and black people in America? Slavery, guys. They don't understand the impact slavery had. They did a number on black people. Slavery did a number on us, y'all. It did a number on us. So you see the black men, you know, they think it's like for them, sleeping with a white woman is like hitting a jackpot. They're like, I did it. You get what I'm saying? Being able, that's almost like a black woman become a CEO of a Fortune 500 company on white people. It's like, I did it, you know, to be integrated with society. You feel like you accomplished something. Even if it's you getting approval from a white person, to a lot of people, they still feel like they're doing something. They feel like they're doing. Let me know if you guys can hear and see me very clearly, because on my end, it looks like it's chopping up. So somebody give a thumbs up and let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to have to end this video because I'm not sure if how you guys are seeing me. Because it looks like it's chopping up. I think I have poor reception. But like I was saying, black people, we're like, come on. All this is happening in the context of many years of racism, segregation, and like I say, for black people just to be integrated and to get approval by white people, it's like you succeeded. You've accomplished something. You know? Thanks, Liddell. I just want to make sure, because sometimes you never know when you're doing live videos. You just never know. I just want to make sure. And it's unfortunate, you guys. Like, it's just sad, you know, and of course, y'all know with me being an advocate and an activist for Black Lives Matter, I can't let this one slip past us, you know. I have to put my perspective on this issue and say that I stand with Stephon Clark. I stand behind him, regardless of who he was interested in dating. And I'm like, that don't affect me. I honestly don't get it. I don't understand how people can be so bent out of shape because black people date outside their race, as if it's really impacting you. It's not impacting you as much as you think it is. You know, it's not. It really isn't. So to attack this man because of his dating preferences, I don't know, maybe he said some things on his Twitter account putting down black women. But he looked like he was kind of young too. He don't look like a man of maturity either. He looked like a man, you know, just kind of young in age. I don't know, maybe in his 20s, late 20s. He don't look like a man who really, you know, who really got a chance to really experience life and learn something. Sometimes it takes black people to step outside of their race and say, oh, well, let me go and try this. We've all done it. Black people need to stop pointing fingers and acting like you just stay black. You 100% black. None of us are 100% black. We all support white businesses and white people to some extent. So stop acting like, oh, I'm just 100% black. I'm all black power. I'm for all, like, yeah, that sounds good to say, that makes us feel good. But don't attack this man because he chose to date an Asian woman. Because that's where he's at in his life. That was where he was at in his life, you know? That's the reason why I study black identity development, you guys. Because you guys, hold on. I'm going to let my battery die. I study black identity development, you guys. That's what I'm studying in my research. Because y'all don't understand, man. This thing goes deeper than, oh, just a black person not liking a white, not liking their own, you know? Y'all gotta understand, this is deep. Y'all, if this thing shut off, I'll just come back and do a part 2. I'm gonna try to connect this battery before it dies. But this thing is deep, y'all. And I just would like, he still was killed for nothing, as Liddell says. Yes. Exactly. He was still killed for no reason. It's like chopping up, you guys. I don't know if it is still really tough, you know, and there's no right or wrong answers. I think everybody's perspective matters, everybody's opinion